It's 3:11 a.m. right now, which in and of itself is a synchronistic number, but it's also 5 Hierophant lessons, the divine partnerships and all that. It's also Aquarius energy, and we are in big Aquarius energy, and it's Empress and Justice. And I've been feeling for like the last week, like I've been. It's funny. I suppose there's a difference between wanting to do this reading, a reading like this, and being called to do this reading, which is just, I don't know. There's some DMs that definitely have some stuff that they want to say and talk about, and well, my bratty butt just hasn't been in the mood. But I'm feeling like I am right now. And I got these new cards. They're called carrot cards, which is specific relevance to my DM. Um, it's kind of hard to see those. I don't know if you can see. But they're called carrot cards, and they're very interesting. I love them. They're kind of oracle cards, and they're kind of not. And I'm going to kind of use them the way that the little booklet says to, and kind of not. But I think I'm going to start with these, and then I made some cards myself, just out of little note cards, and I might pull from another deck. I'm not sure. I haven't decided. I'm going to not try to be perfectionist about this, as my Capricorn butt likes to try to do, and let my Aries moon just play a little bit. I've already shuffled this deck before here and cleared it and stuff, and I'm just going to pull and say, all right, DMs, what would you like to say right now? And also, please keep in mind that, like, there might be some of this that resonates for you, and maybe others parts do not resonate for you. And it could be that this reading isn't for you at all. I'm a fan of, if you're called to it, there's probably something in it for you. It could be a trigger, it could be a message, it could be anything. But there are plenty of times when we might get called to a reading from readers that we watch very often, or it just happens to be in there that either it's not right now or it's not our message. So, it's okay. You don't have to pull in every single thing on there. Interestingly enough, we got this card that says snow. Hello, Angel. And this is card number 43, which are already 7, victory, momentum. And it's interesting that they say snow. It actually snowed here recently. And, oh, that's funny. I just thought about it. Right now, we have the snow moon, like the full moon in Virgo. It started yesterday afternoon and is still full right now. So there's something that DMs want to say that have to do with snow. And I'm trying to remember what the book said. The book is very interesting. Like I said, I'm gonna use some of these, and I'm gonna go for others. I think right off the bat, so when I think of snow, I think kind of both a purity, and it's a fusion. It's a mixture between air and water, and it doesn't. It's not ice, but it's not rain. It's right in the middle in there. 43. Let's see. Ooh, expected challenge. That's a good meaning for snow, right? Uh, oh, hello, Effie. Yeah, I'm doing better at least. Yes, thank you. So, okay, so DMs are already saying there's an expected challenge going on right now, and that could mean that there's an expected challenge that you're aware of or that they're aware of, but there is a challenge. And being that it's snow, I mean, for snow to actually collect on the ground in the way that it kind of is showing in the card, usually that means, hi Elizabeth, usually that means that there's there's an abundance accumulated there. And so it could be that some DMs are saying that there is a large accumulation of fluff going on, that they know that they have to. It's like if you see that the driveway is full of snow, you have to shovel your way out. Yeah, the challenge ahead for you too. Although this is the T for DM, so I wouldn't be surprised if many divine feminines are reflecting and seeing challenges. I'm going through challenges on my own. I mean, I have my physical stuff, but also I had to call an ambulance for my mom earlier, and this is like the second time in 6 weeks, and so like there are many challenges going on. And so if you have a challenge going on in your life and you're seeing this message going on, then yeah, it's probably both of you having different challenges. Now, interesting, the next two cards we got, Icy Path And card 23. And remember, it's funny, when I started the reading, it was 311, which is 5. So now we have another 5. And Icy Path, which, if I remember correctly in the book, it's like dangerous path ahead. It's dangerous up there. And that makes sense with the snow. And it's funny, actually, that like, not these cards are not, they're not all wintry. There's like spring and summertime ones too. So I like, it's funny. I can't make this stuff up. Like, this is the point in time, at least here in the West Coast, where it is snowy and icy and things are going on, and we're getting the same cards that are matched up with that. And you know what else is, this card also reminds me of the moon card. Whereas you see a path that is going out, but it's winding into a distance where you cannot see where the path goes. And usually what that means is it's kind of like the unfolding the ever unfolding rose. The path ahead of us is always going to be unfolding, and we don't always know what's around the corner. And so with snow as an expected challenge, and icy path being like, a dangerous path ahead, it seems like masculines are saying that they're looking, they know that they have an accumulated problem in front of them, and it's a slippery path. It's a slippery slope. It's not going to be one that they could just walk on dry summer land to get out of. And here's the funny thing, the other card that came out, kicking. And it's little rabbit legs, because these are carrot cards. It's all about the wisdom of rabbits. And what's funny, it also kind of looks like the end of a donkey, if not for the little tail that clearly is not a donkey's tail. I almost would have thought it was a donkey. And we've got 24. It's the 24th card, which would be 6. So already we've got 7, 5, and 6, which would be like momentum. And then it would be a lesson, and lovers, which is head and the heart. So what I'm thinking here, and this makes sense too. Oh, interesting. Look at this. I'm going to take this one too. This is on the bottom of the deck, and it says Tunnel in the Garden, and it's card number 51, which is another 6. It's also 15 backwards, so like the reflection of the devil card, right? And Tunnel in the Garden, I might look that one up, but if I remember correctly, it's kind of like, it's unexpected good luck, and it's also like a way out. And if you look at the card, you can see that the ends of the carrots are in the tunnel, so they could come up and like rabbits or moles or different things like that could come up and eat the carrot from the bottom end, and by the time that the farmer comes and picks them up from the top, there's no carrot there. And so that could kind of be a thievery thing too going on. And so if we have an expected danger, a slippery path ahead, plus kicking, and a tunnel in the garden, I would say that right now what many DMs are trying to say is that they're in a sticky situation. They know they need to get out of it. They know that it's not going to be an easy path ahead. They know there are some possible rewards ahead, but that many of those rewards may already have been, well, either they've, what the other thing that comes to mind is Tunnel in the Garden. Kind of, it's like, it reminds me of it, in movies, or if you've ever been in jail and tried to like get your way, like you've tried to tunnel your way out, right? Like it's kind of like that. Like, it either seems like, I would say in some timelines, DMs they've got a little path tunnel that's underground. They're keeping it quiet. They don't want the farmer to know, and the farmer is probably the karmic. And in these cards, carrots are often representative. It's kind of like pentacles, coins, things like that, the rewards, the resources. And so it could be that on top, they're showing that the carrots are growing and all that, but they're really secretly digging a tunnel out through the bottom, because the only other way to go about it is this. It's an expected challenge. There's danger ahead, and you've got a kicking rabbit right there. And usually rabbits only kick because they're trying to defend themselves. Now let's look and see what it means. I'm just really curious on here. Let's see, 51. Tunnel in the Garden. Oh, happy accident and chance. Okay, so it's, I still hold by what I read. I read intuitively, so I still think that's there. But I that feels really good in there too. Though a happy accident, some kind of chance. It may even have been that maybe they came into some money and they don't want anybody to know, so they could use that to get out of their situation. Or it could be that the karmics they're with maybe have even done something or revealed something. There's been a lot of energy lately of confessions and a lot of readings coming up of like karmics cheating again, or like found out that they were doing fake pregnancies or things like that. It could be that maybe there was some sort of a happy accident that helped DMs realize what they were, who they were really with. And now they're like, oh man, I'm so taking that tunnel in the garden out of this place, right? This is not a happy garden. And then, let's see, 23. AC path treachery. Interesting. See, there's slippery slope, but when we change that, so then we have an it's expected conflict. That's interesting. I was saying, well, I guess it is probably expected conflict, but an expected challenge plus treachery, and then 24 kicking bravery. Look at that. Okay, so an expected challenge that's treacherous and deals with treachery. And then, which is funny because I kind of read into that on the garden path card, but it wasn't quite what that card meant. And then kicking bravery. And then on 51 we had the happy accident by chance. So it could be, maybe it's even that what DMs are saying is that something happened, that like a happy accident occurred, that happened, it was some sort of treachery. Like the karmic stabbed them in the back, or maybe the karmic got stabbed in the back as their karma, and then in their own like upsetness and throwing things around, that they revealed that they were actually doing something to DMs or things like that. Hello, Ashley. You're dealing with the owner of a home that it got cut off there, but okay. But yeah, so I mean, already, like looking at this order of things, this is the first part of what DMs want to say. But there's an expected challenge going on. There's some treachery and some bravery, and a tunnel in the garden. I think on some timelines this is probably that some DMs they expect a challenge, and they're waiting for a treachery to reoccur. Like maybe it's that like the karmics have already hurt them in a certain way, and they're starting to spot the cycle of this, and they're just kind of waiting for the next time. Because a lot of these karmics, they're not as easy to leave as you think. It's not that easy. Even if you've totally valid and justified, they will make sure they've got their hooks in you, either legally or physically or emotionally or something. Like that's part of why they are karmics. And it's a lot of times for DMs, it's about learning to stand in their truth and being willing to face embarrassment and failure and things like that to be able to do it. But it also means not being so reactive, like learning to stop and just kind of allow the karmics to do their own thing, because they will get there. And so it could be that they're waiting for a treachery to reoccur so that they can take a brave stand, and they can either kick them out or they can leave. And then, and so they're kind of waiting for a happy accident, which also, funny enough, reminds me of Bob Ross. Or is it Bob Ross? Yeah, the painter guy. Yeah, it's just a happy accident, right? And then I think in the last of these, I'm noticing on the bottom of the deck now is the Whiskers card. It's funny, it's 52, so we have another 7 in there. And if I remember correctly, it's intuition, but let's see. Awareness. Okay, so it's very similar. Intuition, awareness. So that's like on the bottom of the deck, and it's kind of I usually look at that as the underlying or the shadow card thing to be doing is, so they're aware of what's going on, and they are, it's funny. So on the top of the deck, I just thought to look like what's the hot topic card, as I do for others. And we got 54, which is 9 already, which is the ending of cycles, and it's the wolf. And the wolf in here, it says the bad ending, which is not, I mean, I don't think wolves are always bad, but I will say I've seen a lot of wolf energy in collective readings and just in general, like things that have come on the side of trucks and cars and things like that. So if you're seeing that too, that may be very similar to you. So that, the hot topic right now for DMs is a bad ending. A bad ending. Like they maybe just be like, they may have tried their hearts out to put in energy in with the karmic that likely you put in with them, and it's bad. it's bad, and they probably tried to, you know, be more loyal and stop being a player and do all this stuff, and it's still bad. It's just bad. And they're howling. If not on the inside, then you know, or if not on the outside, then on the inside, they're howling, and they're looking for that garden path, that tunnel out, and they're aware of the. I'm gonna say they are aware that you are their twin. They're aware that you love them and that they love you, and they know it's going to be a challenge both in getting away from the karmics and in growing and in, you know, making things up to you. And but they're more focused on getting away, especially this tunnel card. This really, really, to me, it's like tunneling out of jail. That's, I keep getting that image of it. Like, you know, they know that they've got a whole lot of problems going on that have accumulated with that snow. They're aware of it, and they know that they have been treacherous to you, and that also the karmics they're with are treacherous, and they're trying to be careful because it's a slippery path, and they need that kind of that timing, the divine timing, to have that brave moment, because they probably had many moments where they've tried to be brave and get away, and it didn't work, and either they weren't ready yet, or they fell into their own codependent cycles, and so they're now aware of what cycles are going on. And you know what I think I'm going to do is pull some Rider-Waite cards on these cards that came out. I'm curious, though, what's in the heart of the matter for DMs, which is usually I find a middle card and pull that. Oh, look at that. The rabbit pair. And it's card number 34, another 7. So we have 3 7s already in here, which is momentum and victory. That's so adorable. The rabbit pair. I bet that's like the love, like the 2 of Cups card, kind of. Let's see. Romance. Yeah, see? So on their heart, duh, it's you. And they're aware. That's the shadow work that they're kind of doing too. So they may not be fully 100% aware. But I think I really sense that it's far more aware than where they have been before. I'm going to put that in with these other cards. Let's see. Where were we? In the whiskers. Yeah, okay, so let's look at... Let's put them in order of whence they came out. Okay. The snow card. Let's get my Rider-Waite cards out. No, I would like all of you to come out. Did I get all of you? I did. Let me get my rubber bands back. Okay, let's see here. First, let's clear this. Alright. Thank you for clearing. Alright, well, I'm not ready for it yet, but cards are already jumping out. Alright. So, divine masculines of the collective, what is this snow that you're talking about? This expected challenge. Wow, a card already popped right out. Page of Wands reversed. Which, you know, is largely immaturity, but it also could be something to do with a child. In fact, I'm going to say this is largely what it has to do. I'm going to say DM's inner child and with actual children. And the karmics could be, I mean, like, you know, I mentioned earlier, it could be fake pregnancies, or there are other ways that they can trap masculines with kids. They could have tried to adopt a kid or foster or do all sorts of other things. They could be using their own children from other relationships. Be like, you can't leave me. What about the kids? And things like that, you know? but there's some sort of expected challenge in there. And also, if you share children with your DM, it's likely that in being with the karmic, that relationship between your shared children and them has created like it's fallen to the wayside, or it's not as good as it could be because they have been giving in more to the karmics, and they're aware that that's a known obstacle right now. But I would say, well, I don't know. I mean, on the bottom of the deck is the Six of Cups in reverse. They want to reconcile. Wow, and look, the Five of Swords in reverse too, and the Eight of Swords. I'm saying I think this is masculine. Wow, wow. Um, I'm gonna say there's two timelines. On one, DMs are stuck in relationships with karmics who are very childish, and they are somehow using children of some kind, and probably masculine's childhood wounds to keep them stuck. And it's created a particular kind of challenge, and they are so ready to be done with that. They're ready to be done being stuck in the past. They really want to resolve things and be done with the commitment that they've been in and all the drama. And then we got the Page of Cups on the bottom, and like they're ready to apologize. The other timeline I'm thinking is that these are DMs who are with karmics who are using children, either children shared or children that are the karmics, and they also know that they have children with you, and this is all creating needless drama, and they really want to fix it. Um, but they're really unsure. They're still in a state of ego, and they're still not quite mature enough to just face it, to just grow a pair and say, "I got this." Um, but I'd say more likely than not, this is that they a lot of masculines jumped in with karmics because they were afraid of genuine love with you, and they got with the karmics because they thought that they would be less challenging to them, like not intentionally, but they were kind of in this place to where, well, they'll accept me for my flaws, and like I can fight with them all they want, and they won't make me stand in my truth and be a good person, so I can work on what I want to work on. And they reason that then they'll be able to get ahead. Like they won't have to focus on their feelings, they won't have to focus on shadow work, they won't have to do all that stuff. And they think that will somehow free them up to be able to like make money and have houses and cars and do all sorts of stuff like that. And then they find, no, it doesn't. And in fact, if you lock yourself in with a karmic wow, that's funny. If you lock yourself in with a karmic who's like that, who's like the Page of Wands in reverse, oh no, honey, you are not going to be able to get ahead like that. And in fact, what they've probably been learning with the karmics is that if you were in any kind of relationship with your DM and you were like, hey, dude, you need to stop lying. You need to grow up. You need to focus on this stuff. They probably were very immature and were like, you're just a big old stick in the mud. Why are you making me do this? And then they get with karmics who actually demand the same stuff, but they have no respect. They're not thoughtful about DM's past. They're not thoughtful about what DM wants and stuff like that. And then they start looking around going, well, damn, if I was going to be doing this stuff anyways, I would have stayed with my divine feminine. At least she let me do it my own way. At least she was kinder about how she motivated me into doing it. And like, this is no fun. And now my DM's mad at me on top of that. I'm not going to do this with you, and then on top of that, even when the karmics aren't demanding that they do this left and right, left and right, left and right, a lot of these karmics are energetic vampires. And so by the time that DM gets any time to themselves, they're so freaking exhausted. I'm not even kidding. Like my DM's karmic, I don't know if she does it consciously or not, but I have watched her do it, and I keep waiting for my DM to see it. I won't tell him about it. I mean, if he watches these videos, he's going to know, and I know he does watch them to a degree, but I'm not going to go and tell him that she intentionally keeps him tired. Like, intentionally. And I know it's got to be, and a lot of it is like, he's wanted to start, this is a really funny one, is that I wanted to but when we were still together, I wanted to have healthy adult bedtimes. I didn't want to be old people and go to bed super early, but I wanted to have a healthy bedtime that gave us enough time to get up for up in the morning so that we had time to I could make breakfast for the kids and he could wake up easy and early. He really wanted me to be up in mornings, but I also wanted specific time for us to have our intimate time before bed. And I planned it out so we had at least 8 hours to sleep, and we had a half hour before and after that for going to sleep and waking up, and then we had like an hour at minimum before that for our playtime and an hour after that for getting up in the mornings, doing breakfast and stuff. And he didn't want to do it because he wanted to stay up. He didn't even have a good reason for it. He just didn't like it. And now, like, he's in a place where he wants to go to bed at a good time because he's been so late for work and he can't stand it. He's got Virgo Mars placement. He cannot stand being late for work, and he has been late for work so much. Like, he was late for work a bit before when he was with me, but he has been so late to work, and he's had to take time off of work that was unexpected, and I know he hates that. And but now that he actually wants to do the healthy thing, he can't. She'll use her kids, she'll throw a fit, she'll do whatever it is she can think of to keep him awake, like at all times. And what's funny is, like, we ended up having that sort of dynamic because he would not go to bed at a healthy time. And I started saying, no, you know what? If you're not going to go to bed with me at a healthy time, then you ain't getting no cookie, because I want to get up on time. And you keep telling me that you want to be able, you want me up in the mornings, you don't want me to be a night owl. So I'm going to bed. And so I know that sort of dynamic, that karmics will often do that, either intentionally or just because they're in their own, toxic cycle. They're not practicing good self-care. And so a lot of DMs, by the time that they do get any time to themselves, they're so drained. They're so freaking drained. They don't have any energy to do anything. And even though they see exactly what it is that they need to do and to get free, like they know what they need to do. They need to face the challenge. They know that they're being deceived, that it's treacherous where they are. They know that they have become a treacherous person. They know that they need to be brave and kick their feet and get out of there. They know that they need to get that into that tunnel and get out of there. They're aware of it. They know. They know that on the other side of that tunnel is you. All right. Let's see. We'll put the snow card aside. All right, DMs. What's this icy path about? This treachery. Oh, wow. All right, things are already flipping out here. I don't know if I'm going to take all this. See, I really should have done this reading when it first started coming in, but I was in a mood and saying, I will not channel for you DMs right now. All right, what's this icy path, treachery about? Oh, I'm not surprised to see her. Queen of Cups reversed. This is a feminine who has horrible boundaries. She often uses emotions to attack you, and to some degree, I mean, even us divine feminines can get into doing this, especially if we really dropped into our egos. But it's funny. Okay, I still can't make this up. So we've got the Queen of Cups in reverse, but right on the bottom of the deck, Ten of Swords reversed. That's treachery. I mean, if ever there was a card in there, I mean, there's a few that can recognize treachery, but like the Ten of Swords in reverse. So when it's an upright, it's like an ascension of thoughts. Like we're moving up. Like, yes, we've been stabbed in the back, but we've learned from it. We're moving up to the Page of Swords. We're learning. But Ten of Swords in reverse is like repeatedly being stabbed in the back, and on top of that, you're having to fall on all of these swords. It's not just that you've been stabbed in the back and you can ascend in thoughts. It's like you're repeatedly being stabbed in the back. And I think that really fits in with what I was thinking earlier on those cards about the awareness card being that they are aware of the cycles. They're finally aware and seeing that the karmic has these cycles. They're aware that they have their own cycles. They're aware that you have cycles. And rather than reacting in each little moment to each little thing, they're kind of in this observation area, which I think makes sense for the Whiskers card being in the shadow card position. They're probably observing themselves much more and observing others, and that includes you. And they're probably really looking at, like, how many swords have they fallen on that weren't their own? How many swords have you fallen on that weren't your own? And what's the cycle? What's the cycle going on? Now, Underneath that, we have the Magician in upright, the Seven of Wands in reverse, the Six of Swords upright, the Seven of Cups in reverse, and interesting, the Nine of Cups upright, which this card wanted to come out when I first did it, but it was in reverse. So it's interesting that it's upright now. Oh, and interesting, the High Priestess in reverse with the Emperor in upright, and I'm not surprised. Yeah, the Tower. And the Two of Cups. Interesting. Okay. So if I look at these, we're looking at cycles of treachery, and it's been manifested. It's an initiation and it's a manifestation. And I think DMs are aware they manifested this. They manifested this. They're aware they created this mess. And they're putting down, they're backing away from it because they know that they so in a way they sort of met their match, both with the karmic and with you. But they're aware that fighting isn't going to get them anywhere. And they're probably the type that have used fighting and arguments and things like that to get themselves out of things a lot, or so they thought. And they're probably with karmics that are very bad with boundaries, especially, I mean, Queen of Cups reverse, like, talk about feminine bad boundary energy. They're probably also healing mother wounds too. That can have to do with that. And the Six of Swords, like, they're quieting their thoughts. They're taking their thoughts to a more healing place. And I would imagine that they're doing that in a way that they have watched you do that. If you've been working on your healing and you know about manifestation and you know how important it is to, like, reprogram your thoughts and take them to better spaces, they're also doing that. And even if they're in the shittiest place ever, they're doing that. I really, the big vision on this is they're using thoughts of you to get out of this. Like, this is kind of the tunnel path thing of those carrot cards. Like, they're really, like, thinking about you, and they're feeling like they are calmer in their thoughts when they think about you. And I'm also going to say the woman and the child in this card, I'm really feeling called to this being, that they're expecting that either the karmic will leave soon and they might need to be the one who helps them move in a way, like to get them out of that space, or it might be that they are going to move soon. And like, they're kind of waiting until that they've made that official because they don't want to keep stringing you along, and they're not really sure if the cycles are done, and they're probably afraid of the kind of drama that the Queen of Cups in reverse is going to bring, and they don't want to drag you into that. And with the Seven of Cups in reverse, like, they're searching for clarity. They're still really confused about a lot of things. Probably even you. They're probably just as much as you question, are they, are they my karmic? Am I the DM? Are they the DF? Like, what's going on? They're still doing that. And this card can also be a bit of black magic. Like, this is the kind of feminine who will gaslight and make sure that they're thoroughly confused about what the truth is. And so they still have to get out of that. This can also be drinking and drugs. So it could be that they know that they have an addiction problem there. But I think what the overall thing that I'm feeling for this card is that there's so many options, they're not sure which one to do. They're not like, do I go right back to my divine feminine and just work things out right away? I know my life's a mess. I like, everything's all over the place. Or do I take some time to be single and do the healthy thing and work on myself and have faith that she'll be ready when I'm ready? Or do I stay in this because I've invested in it for so long and work on it? And, like, who's right, who's wrong? Does it matter who's right or wrong? Like, what if I'm not ready? And, they're in their thoughts a lot about it, and it's not clear. There's a big fog around them, and it seems like part of it is simply their own overthinking the situation, kind of analysis paralysis or choice paralysis, and the other part is that the karmics are doing everything they can to keep them very confused. And actually, that makes sense with the Nine of Cups, which I do feel like this is their wish for you, but this is also the most sexual card in the deck. And so it could be that they are wishing, this is also the single masculine card too, and so like they're wishing to be single. Like they just don't want to make you wait more, but they really do. They want they want to be able to sit alone and just enjoy their cups and not have to worry about who they're helping or hurting or anything. They just want to be able to sit there and feel good for a minute, like listen to some music and relax and not feel drained of everything, and feel like it's okay to have that. And at the same time, they're wishing for you. They do want the 10 of cups. And then on the other side, they're having to face a lot of masculines, whether you're feminine or, whether you've got male genitalia or feminine genitalia. When you're in that masculine energy, it's easy for someone to control you using sex. It's a lot easier to do that than it is for someone who is of feminine energy. And so they're really having to work out those kinks. And with with, I was going to say divine priestess. It's funny because it is the divine feminine in reverse, right? The high priestess in reverse, like she will use everything and anything. These two cards go together very, very well. And it could even be that they're dealing with more than one karmic. They could be very Agatha Christie, like they've got like a younger Queen of Cups who is very emotional. And I mean, and what's funny is this could be you. Like we're looking at the icy path, the treachery thing. This could be that they know that they hurt you, and that you are in your emotions and you're upset, and maybe you've even said some words to them that like really hurt them, but they know that they hurt you. They're aware, the whiskers, they're aware that they did that stuff, and they don't blame you for being as upset as you are. And maybe this is the karmic that they're dealing with, or it could be both. Like it could be Queen of Cups reversed is you upset, and it's another younger karmic they have to deal with, and they have an older karmic who is like, she knows how to use secrets against you. She knows how to use sexuality against you. She's very passive aggressive. She deals with magic, and not the good kind. She doesn't care about your free will. She will look up anything and everything. She will spy on you. I mean, like, just as wonderful and radiant as this person is, this is the opposite of that person. And then with the Emperor, that's good. That's divine masculine in upright. It's divine masculine's 3D self, and it's very much fatherhood, and it is bravery. It's very Aries energy. And it's funny because to have right behind that, to have the Tower card and the Two of Cups, I think for some of you, and I'm getting big tingles on this, there was a conversation that happened recently, probably between the two of you, and or you may not be aware that you were maybe interacting with the karmic. But there was some sort of conversation that had to do with the Two of Cups. It had to do with not just love, but like business, abundance, things like that. And it caused a tower. But it also caused masculine to stand in his power and stand in his truth, and to really think about who he wants to share his cup with, and who he wants to give his cup to drink out of, and whose cup he wants to take a sip out of and share it in that way. And it created towers, which knocked down the false foundation that was going on with the karmic, and it also brought divine masculine enlightenment. And now what they're gonna have to work through, I mean, they got themselves in with somebody that is not as easy to leave as you'd think. And they're also dealing with their addictions and things like that, drinking, sex, things like that, and probably being controlled with that, especially with that card being paired. I mean, this is right on top of it, the Seven of Cups in reverse. And that can also have to do with some thievery too. And like they want to get the healing waters. They're done with the fighting with you or them. So if they're not talking with you, they're more trying to avoid fighting with anybody. And they're manifesting something new, and they also recognize that they manifest. In order for them to be conscious enough to manifest a new situation, they would have to be conscious enough to recognize they manifested the situation that they're in, and that includes this both as you and the karmic. Like they manifested that situation, but they're finally recognizing that because they manifested that situation, it also means they can manifest their way out of it. And I think that's part of why we have kicking in there, which is that bravery card. um All right, let's see. DMs, how are you going to be brave? Like what way are you thinking to be brave? Show me how you're going to be brave. Oh, interesting. Oh, all right. I'll take one of those cards. Well, you know what? I'll take two of those cards. Oh, that's interesting. Right on the bottom now, Ten of Pentacles reversed. That's a contract broken. So they're going to end some kind of contract. It could be a divorce contract. It could be breaking a lease. It could be breaking an agreement to have some sort of codependent dynamic, especially because the two cards that popped out are the Eight of Pentacles reversed and the Three of Cups. And it came out with the Eight of Pentacles reversed first, and then the Three of Cups. And so what I'm sensing is that they're breaking a contract with a codependent and not a feminine who's in a lot of toxic energy, who is probably afraid to be single. She probably doesn't have a lot of other backup plans because she was depending on using your masculine. And she probably assumed that because she got him into some kind of contract like this, that she could keep him in it. But he's done. He's willing to lose money. He's willing to show people that he failed. He's willing to look at it, and he's willing to end it with her. And that Three of Cups, that's the most joyful card in the deck. Like, it literally means joy, celebration, things like that. And it can also often mean reconciliation. And so I think that what they're saying is the brave thing they're waiting to do, or that they're already working on, is breaking the contract, so that they can find joy within themselves, and probably so they can reconcile with you. Underneath that, yeah, Strength reverse. That's another codependent card. Two of Swords, so they're being quiet about it. Probably because it's likely that they've been being spied on by karmics and stuff like that. Like, I mean, karmics will do some crazy toxic stuff, and it's very likely that when masculines, either like when they go to sleep, the karmics will look through their phones, or some of them will just take the phones right out of their hands and read through it and go through all sorts of stuff. And so it may not be that they don't want to tell you. In fact, they might. I'm kind of getting a vision that some of them might come to tell you something in person that they would not talk about in text. And I'm just going to say follow your intuition. If something like that happens, and you feel like, okay, I should not talk about this with them, if you do have any sort of regular conversation with them anywhere, then don't talk about it. But if you likewise, if you feel like talking about it to them in text, even if you know that they were hoping to keep it quiet a little bit, do it anyways. Let's see, beneath that, Eight of Pentacles reversed. So they're not liking what they see. They're feeling very stagnant. They're seeing that they're not getting abundance. They've been trying to lay roots and it ain't been happening. Page of Swords, they've probably also been watching you. And Five of Cups in reverse, they're not very happy about they're not happy about how they've treated you. And also, if you've been like just opening up and allowing yourself to flirt or date or anything like that, like, they're not happy about that. They know that they're complete hypocrites about it too, but they're just not happy about it. And they're lurking on you. They're spying on you. You might even start to notice evidence of this soon if you haven't before. But either way, if they're being quiet, it's because they know that they're not strong enough yet, or they are strong enough in terms of, like, they're kicking and screaming. It ain't easy where they're at, like, but they're trying to not drag you into it, and they're not strong enough yet to just make it public. Just say, I'm freaking done with all of this. And on top of that, I mean, we've got 2 10 cards in there. So it's not just like one thing. It's not like they're just leaving a karmic. It's not like they're just ending a contract. Like, they got themselves into a hot mess, and there's a lot of things that they have to get out of, and probably systematically, much in the way that the karmics got them into those situations. They have to be very aware of what they're doing, and it's a treacherous path, because somebody is unstable, as the Eight of Pentacles reverse, the High Priestess reverse, the Queen of Cups reverse. Like, that's, it's not as simple as, I don't think I'm enjoying this relationship anymore, and I know that you're not, so why don't we end it? Like, it's not going to be that simple. It's just not. And that's part of why they got into the situation that they did, so they could learn that lesson and recognize how to spot people who are not healthy for them in the first place. Now let's see. The tunnel in the garden. I'm still, like, I know it's an unexpected happy accident, but I still feel like it's a little more planned. But let's see. DMs, tell us about this tunnel in the garden. What is this about? Oh, interesting. The the Six of Swords. Six of Wands and upright. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. On the top of the deck, the hot topic, the Empress card, and that, like, those didn't really want to pop out the time before, but the Empress in reverse. Somebody who's like a mother figure who's very much smothering them. And this is Divine Feminine 3D sense, but it's not like this can also be karmics, like when they're a Divine Feminine that have not gotten into their divine energy yet. And it's a very smothering person. They do often use children to hold on to masculines and things like that. But I'm getting the sense that this I'm getting the sense that this Six of Wands, a lot of times it's very attached to ego. And so I could see that. Like, they're part of the tunnel in the garden is that they're not ready yet to drop their ego and just say, you know what, this was a flop. They still want to feel like the conquering hero. And they also, but what I'm really seeing in here though is it, like, this can often be a card that means recognition. And so it could be that they recognize that I mean, it's another awareness card, that they recognize they put themselves in this position, but they also recognize that they could do better. And they recognize that they've been repeating cycles that are not healthy and stuff like that. And you know what's funny? I just noticed too, in this card there are 6 carrots, and they're kind of like 6 wands, right? And I mean, just considering everything else, let's see what else is in here. We got King of Wands. Oh yeah, look at that, 7 of Swords in reverse, which is consequences and treachery, like the consequences of treachery. The Hierophant reversed, which is Divine Masculine's 5D self, but it's karmic in that sense. And it's also another card of divorce and ending contracts and things like that. And it's also lessons learned, or lessons of avoiding learning the lesson. 3 of Pentacles reversed, typically the third party card, and it's also about like the public view of things. 4 of Cups reversed. Oh, interesting. And now we have the 10 of Pentacles upright and Strength upright. You know what's funny too? The King of Wands in many ways is kind of like the king of drama. And in upright, it's not bad energy. It's very Leo energy. It's very like theatrical and banter and fun and sexual and things like that. And in reverse, though, it's like bad drama. But this could be that they recognize they have been the king of drama, and they recognize that they need to face the consequences of what they've done. They need to get themselves out of some sort of what was supposed to be a higher commitment and contract. They recognize that they already look like a complete fool to anybody who knows them, especially if you've been doing your work glowing up. Well, their situation, like this is Pentacles cards, where their abundance has been falling apart and everybody can see it. They're already aware. And then 4 of Cups reversed, like they've either had an emotional breakthrough, or they're ready to have an emotional breakthrough, or they're still being bratty about it. Like they know what they need to do. They recognize what they need to do, but they're in their ego and they're just not ready. They're like stomping their little masculine feet. Like, I don't wanna. Like, I know what I need to do. You let me do it my own way. And also, this could be the karmics. Like saying, I mean, the vision that comes to mind even is like, oh, you think you're going to leave me? I'll show you. I'll take your car keys. I'll do that. I'll hide this. I'll do that. I'll bring someone else in. You think you could break a contract with me? Just watch. Just watch what happens. You want to try to do that. And like they know that it's going to, like, this can often be a card of like a warrior riding in from a war, like a victorious war. So that tunnel in the garden, it's like a recognition. With this King of Wands staring back at the cards underneath it, it really feels like, Actually, what it feels like is that they've spent enough time observing and they recognize that they made poor choices. They're being stolen from. They need to face consequences of their own behavior. They need to divorce or end the contract in some way. They're not as worried about what everybody else thinks because it already is very obviously shit. And they're still facing some of their ego and some of their emotions about being able to let that go. It's kind of a new experience for a lot of them. And they're trying to do it right so that they can create a positive Ten of Pentacles. They want to have a legacy, and I mean, if you have kids with them, it could be they want to correct that and have a better relationship with you. If you don't yet, it could be that they want to start that with you. But there's definitely some bratty energy going on in here, and even with the wand stuff in here, definitely some kind of magic going on that they're getting out of. They're getting clarity of it. They're recognizing it. They're becoming aware of it, and either the happy accident has already happened and they already know, like there's something that happened that probably wasn't pleasant, but it made them aware of what's going on. In fact, let's just find out. We'll do the last two cards, the whiskers, which is awareness. Thank you, masculines. What's this awareness? What's this whiskers? What are you aware of? What's your intuition telling you? Oh, interesting. Two cards popped right out. Page of Swords, Five of Cups. They're aware they've been poisoned, actually, right off the bat. They're aware that they have been fed bad information. They're aware that they've been being gaslit. They recognize that. They're aware that karmics have been spying on them, altering messages, sending messages to other people, instigating problems, covering up their own problems. I'm also getting that for some of them, it may have been a message from either, like, I want to say sort of a friend of the karmics. Like the karmics did not have very many friends, but somebody who came in from their side who either got, so the karmic was treacherous to them, and so they came in and like told masculine, like, they're cheating on you, right? Or they're just taking you for all that you've got until you're done, right? Or or whatever it is. Like that somebody came in and just kicked over the cups, or it was that masculines caught karmics doing something with a friend of theirs who is in immature masculine energy. It doesn't mean that they are a young masculine, but they're in immature masculine energy. And I would say a lot of these masculines recognize that they have been in immature masculine energy and they were the ones that kicked over the cups. Um, that's a funny thought. I think a fair amount of them actually are kicking over the cups on purpose. I've heard it said before, and I kind of like it. The Five of Cups is actually like a mini tower of its own kind, and it's good that the tower happened, that you kicked them over, because then you saw the poison. Like you may not have, like if those three cups were standing up, you would not have known that one of them was poisoned. And so because you kicked it over, or someone else kicked it over for you, yeah, you're sad about the mess, but you didn't get poisoned, and you still got two cups sitting behind you. So it very well could be, yeah, I think masculines are aware of that. Like, and especially with it being the Three of Cups ticked over, that's like the Three of Cups reversed, and then the Two of Cups in upright. So they're recognizing is that they are in a bad situation. It's a third party karmic situation. There's no joy in it. There's no friendship in it. There's just no good in it. And on top of that, it's been poisonous. And they recognize that they have become poisonous on top of that, and they're completely rebelling against it. They also recognize that they have been spied on, and also that they have been spying. I think they're starting to really come into awareness of how much they think about us. Um, yeah. Which would make sense with that rabbit pair there. I'm just going to leave the rabbit pair. I think it's pretty obvious, the heart of the matter, that they're thinking about us. I'm really curious, though, what the wolf is, the bad ending. Masculines, what's the bad ending? Oh, the Five of Swords almost came out. Which, if Five of Swords is like the last man standing, but it's also like, it's a combination between, haha, I stole your swords, and give me back my swords. You can't walk off with them, they're mine. Oh, that's so funny. What was I just talking about? The Three of Cups, right? I said reverse, but it's upright right there. We got the Three of Cups and the Ace of Cups. Ooh. And on the bottom of the deck now, we have the Eight of Pentacles reversed. with the Queen of Pentacles, Ten of Cups, the Fool reversed. Yeah. I think the bad ending is masculines realized they made a bad choice because of their ego and their anxiety. Yeah, we got the Hanged Man not far under that. And it's been a nightmare. And they're tired of being out in the cold. They're tired of being tired of being sick and tired, they realized they were naive. They made a bad choice. They thought that they were going to get 10 of cups with this person and recognized that actually they could have had 10 of cups with you very easily, but they were tricked between a mixture of sexuality and talk about, oh, we'll do all these good things with money and stuff like that. Somebody that they thought was like a Queen of Pentacles who turned out to be an Eight of Pentacles reversed. Somebody who's not abundant at all, and they suck the abundance out of everybody else, and they are very codependent, and they make you very codependent, and they make it difficult for you to either leave them or even stay with them. Like, it's just it's a wash cycle that nobody can enjoy. And it's interesting. So to have the bad ending, the wolf, so the Three of Cups and the Ace of Cups reversed, what's funny is I almost get the sense of like a joyful ending in love, like celebrating an ending in love. But I'm also kind of feeling like it could also be this way too, like the Ace of Cups in upright and the Three of Cups reversed. And in that case, it would be that they want a new beginning in love, but first they have to end a bad third party situation. Um, But because it came out this way, what I'm thinking about actually, I think like whether or not you have signs of it, and especially with that snow card, and today being the snow moon, the full moon, and Virgo being a great like naturally, it's a time of year when we want to release things that are messy and that no longer serve us or make us miserable and things like that. I want to say they've already ended it. That does not necessarily mean they're out of troubled waters. A lot of times they have to end it multiple times to get it fully ended, but it's already ended, and very much, at least in their hearts. They're already celebrating the ending in their hearts, and they've got to get out of whatever contractual situation that they're in to do that. Um, I'm gonna pull from some of the cards that I made, and we'll see how well these work. I don't know if they're shuffleable or not. Let's see. Sort of. That's okay. And I put some different things on these. I was kind of playing with stuff. I've actually made a couple of decks like this, but I've not really read with them. Didn't feel right. It was kind of like, when you cook pancakes or grilled cheese, you always burn the first one at least, maybe a couple of them. All right, DMs, what would you like to say? Two Divine Feminines on here. You gonna give me that one? No, you don't want to give me that one. Okay. What would you like to say to us? Oh, no? Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, first one that comes out. Time after time, the song, when you're lost, you will find me. Time after time. Which, I think that makes a lot of sense in there. Like, whenever they've been lost, you found them, or they've found their way back to you, And I'm going to take this one too. It ended up on the bottom. Haunting Dreams. Would you like to say anything else, masculines? Alright, what came out here? Okay, it was 2 cards. Let's see. You're not a victim, stand in your power. Which I think is part of what they're saying to themselves, and also to you, femmes, because we do reflect each other. Oh, it says, I'm jealous about how good you're doing without me. I convinced myself it was you holding me back, now I see. So that could be part of that awareness right there. Like, in order to leave you and separate from you and do all the things that they've done, they had to convince themselves that it was you, not them. And now they're jealous of it. And that's probably part of that Four of Cups reverse thing. Like, they know what they need to do, and they know that you're right. And they see, like, the example. Like, if you're doing really good in your life, they see the example. They know what they need to do, but they're not ready to face it yet, and they're feeling human and jealous, and they don't want to admit that it's been a really crappy situation. They're not quite there yet. Um, Interesting. 90 degrees. This is something, this is part of the cycles that I started noticing. So a 90-degree angle is the first part of a 360, and it's typically between divine feminine, divine masculine. It's kind of an uncomfortable angle. Like the 180s and the 360s themselves are not too bad. Even the 270s are sort of okay. But the 90-degree angles, that first part of a new cycle, it can be uncomfortable. Purging, we got, which that makes sense in there too, right? A purging. Oh, all right. What else we got here? Confessions. That's funny. I almost called this reading like Portal of Confessions or something like that. Or I might do another one. Maybe I'll do another one that's about that, because confession has been a huge energy in the collective lately, and I'm really not surprised, especially with Pisces about to go into Venus. You know what? I'm going to take that one. On the bottom, we got, do you want to feel good or be right? Manage vibe. Which, I'm going to say that's what they're trying to do, and that's what you need to do. Like, yeah, they've done a lot of shit. You're right. But do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy? If you want to be happy, stop worrying about whether you're right or not and focus on what feels good. And if it feels good to love them, then work on forgiving and forgetting. Let's see. Anything else, DMs, before we close up here? Are you gonna give me that one? No. Okay. Being selective of what we're saying tonight. That's good though. Not just blurting things out. Let's see. I was afraid you'd see. That's why I pretend to be happy. So it's likely that they were afraid that you'd see how badly that they're doing, especially if they're jealous of how well you're doing without them. And so they may also recognize that they have hurt you in pretending to be happy without you, and they didn't think that far ahead. What they just thought, well, you seem happy and you're doing well, so I don't want you to know how bad I'm really doing. Or on the other side, they may know that it would hurt you, but their ego got in the way, and they felt like it was better for them to pretend to be happy even if it hurt you than to admit that they were freaking miserable and wanted to come back to you the whole time and really, hate the situation as it is. Let's see. Did we get 2 cards here? We did. Self-esteem. They're working on self-esteem. Blaming. Let's see. Anything else, DMs? I'll take 1 or 2 more cards. Actually, we got a handful, but okay. And on the bottom it says mind your reflections, ego. So definitely on that. Oh, that's funny. So, look into my eyes, you will see that love has found. Doo, doo, doo. I don't even remember all the lyrics. And then War of Roses, which is a good movie, and it's also a period of history, and it's something that my DM said to me at one point. If you get a chance to watch the movie, it's about a couple who, they're very karmic for each other, and they get into a relationship very fast, and they don't really think things through, and then they end up in a house, and they end up fighting over the house. Like, they both want the house, and what they really want is to get even with each other. And like, it's told from the perspective of the divorce lawyer, who's like, they've changed the way I look at divorce, at divorce law, which also, that's funny, that fits in with that energy of ending contracts and stuff. But like, this couple like almost died, like trying to keep the house from each other. They would rather have destroyed the house and do all that than to let each other go to other people. And I mean, it was just crazy. Like, it's War of Roses, and I have a feeling that that's what they're going through right now. It makes sense with the treacherous path and things like that. Oh, interesting. And space between the notes and roots. Spaces between the notes, which is something that my DM and I would talk about. Is like, it was a quote that I heard, but we always just talk about it, that music is not actually the noise, it's the space between the notes. And we both play instruments too, and it's very important. The timing you put in between the notes makes it almost more of a difference in the notes that you choose. But either way, you need both. And it also, it's a card that I wrote, and the energy I was thinking of it with was like, there are times when a lot of times, especially when we're in separation, it's hard for us to give our masculine space or to take space for ourselves because we're worried about losing the connection or things like that. So instead of worrying about, like, oh my gosh, when are they going to call? When are they going to text? What are they doing? Think of it as a space between the notes. You'll hear from them again. Or you'll have a time when you'll know when it's right to reach out to them. Don't think of it as like, oh my gosh, it's ending or it's not there. Think about it like it's just a beautiful space in between the notes. And then the roots brings up several things. Is one, like, a lot of time, like, a lot of times a plant can appear dead on top and actually be fine. The roots are fine. Like, I mean, think about deciduous trees that lose all of their leaves in the winter, in the fall, and in the winter they look dead. Like, for all intents and purposes, they got no leaves. They look like they're gone, but the roots are good, and in the spring the leaves come up again. And that could also mean like springtime will be important, like April, May ish, that period. And also, the Roots card reminds me of there's a Bible proverb parable that's about the, what is it, the roots are, the wheat is in with the tares. It's not quite the same as the wheat and the chaff, but it's like something has, the toxicity, the karmic stuff has grown in with the new roots that are actually good for the masculine to have. So like the healthy healing, the boundaries and things like that, but it has grown in with the toxicity. And so if you were to rip away the toxicity, you would also rip away the good new stuff. So you kind of just have to let it play out, because you cannot separate the tares from the wheat until the wheat is already done with its whole cycle and ready to be harvested. Then you can separate the the chaff and the tares away from the wheat, and the wheat will still be good and usable and ready to plant another season without the tares or the chaffs. Um, and also, it's about grounding and roots and things like that. I just did a video talking about like refocusing and working on yourself and stuff like that. Like, make sure that you are reflecting them, in the sense, like, make sure that you're working on having roots that you're proud of, that you will have no matter whether you're with your twin flame, or you're in a different relationship, or you're in no relationship or anything. Work on your roots, or tend your roots, manage them, and maybe even just for fun learn about the herbalism of actual roots. You never know, might be something interesting to learn about. Now, it doesn't have to be work, all work all the time, dear fellow DFs. We can play sometimes too and just do things just for fun. Well, all right. It's funny. 418, which equals 13, which is the death card. So I'm going to end this here. And I hope that you liked this tea time check-in. I'll give it a name of some kind after it finishes processing. But until then, thank you for your comments. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. It does add your energy to the readings, and it also, it's just nice. It's motivating to see that people like to listen, and I love to hear your stories. If some of this resonated with you or anything, feel free. Uh, I mean, to speak up when I'm doing live, or speak up in the comments later. I love it, and I try to get back to y'all whenever I can. I'll chat you in the next video.